Sarasota, and I am so excited to have Brandon with us today. Brandon Barnes, he works out of the REI Live Atlanta office and started that. So I cannot wait to hear what they're doing up there, as well as what's happening in the market up in Atlanta.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me again. And for those of you who haven't been to Atlanta, reiliveatlanta.com or on Instagram is where you can kind of follow along with what is going on. And just like Sarasota and Columbia and Birmingham, we look to bring local and national investors and speakers to discuss kind of their strategies, what their business looks like, and what they're doing each and every month and week to continue to have success in real estate. So I started out in 2016 just kind of by chance. I had an opportunity to jump into real estate, leaving corporate America after some turnover and different companies that I had worked for had been acquired. And I had a buddy that was really into real estate, and I asked him like, "Hey, what's this thing all about?" And he said, "Hey, come over. I'm actually just joining a program called Wholesaling Inc. And it's the easiest, best way to get into real estate investing." And so I went over, started to follow along, do some driving for dollars, and learn how to have conversations with motivated sellers. So started off wholesaling in the beginning of 2016. And then this new wave of cold calling and TTP started at the end of 2016, early 2017. And I thought that just made so much sense of, being really aggressive and going after leads instead of just spending a bunch of money on mail. And so I transitioned to really having a core focus on cold calling in early 2017. From there, I built a team to do some of that for me, and then hired an acquisition manager and then a disposition manager. And I say, and a lot of people will share the same sentiment, that wholesaling is one of the best ways to jumpstart real estate investing. Whether or not you're wanting to be an a rehabber or a buy and hold investor, uh, being direct to seller and marketing for off market properties for motivated sellers is just going to be a core way to purchase homes at the best price. So you could be, a high velocity wholesaler, or you can just market for your own deals. Being direct to seller and going after motivated sellers yourself is just the best way to jump into this business. So for me, that translates to doing 50, 60 deals the last few years on average wholesaling. Some we have done some renovations on. We usually try to stick to the cosmetic ones, not full renovation, because I don't want to build a team that's really great at that. So we've done some smaller rehabs. We've done some kind of turnkey, fix to sell as a turnkey rental. And that's kind of what our business is based on, with wholesaling as a core foundation. REI Live came into the mix after Brian Tripp came into Atlanta and had an opportunity. I guess the initial operator he worked with wasn't working out. And so, another by chance opportunity came for me to jump into the meetup space. And so from there, a lot of the attendees wanted coaching and mentorship and how to build their own real estate investing businesses. So in August of last year, I started off doing some small group coaching. Now that looks like, there's about 20, 30 people that are regular kind of, bi-weekly members of my coaching program, where I'm showing them my core foundation, which is wholesaling. And from there, they can go off and, decide whether they want to be a rehabber or a buy and hold investor. And so, that, in a nutshell is kind of my progress and my transition. Now today, we do anywhere from 5 to 8 wholesale transactions each and every month. These past few months, there was initial shock in March where buyers pulled out of the market or buyers pulled out of a few deals. But this past month, we did like 3 wholesale deals. So far this month, I have 1 done and 2 scheduled for the coming week. So we're kind of climbing back into things right now. And additionally, I'm doing some more virtual meetups. Um, like tomorrow, I have a virtual meetup. You can check it out at Zoom MTP. That's
Okay.
from massive to passive. And that's just part of my mastermind group that's providing information on what's working in their business and how they're transitioning in this current market to do more deals and adapt to the current environment. And I'm really excited about that. So I'll continue to do content. We'll always have a wholesaling business as the backdrop, and I'm looking to continue to grow that. And for me, the long term strategy is to level up into commercial buy and hold opportunities. So I don't have one of those under my belt yet, but that is my kind of short to medium term goal is to get into my first, middle size, small to middle size multifamily project.
That's amazing. That's awesome. It's all about the goals, right?
100%. 100%.
So when all this coronavirus started happening, with wholesaling being your major business component, how did you adjust your business right away to continue to close 3 deals in March and then already have 3 deals scheduled and one under the way now in May?
Yep.
What did
The biggest thing is for me is to be more aggressive on the disposition side. So we were used to just sending out emails and having people make offers and have interest and come to inspections. So a few things that we've done. For one, on the seller side is to make sure that sellers feel comfortable. We've adjusted our prices down about 10% in where we offer homes. We've extended our contracts. So, more like 60 days of due diligence if they'll allow it, and 60 to 90 days of close time. That is kind of what we've done on that side. We've also given the sellers confidence that we'll come in wearing proper PPE. So we'll have gloves and masks. And then anybody that wants to view a property for an inspection, they are, coming in like one at a time. We make sure that there's proper PPE available for them as well. So we're giving the sellers confidence up front. On the disposition side, on the sales side of the deal, instead of just sending emails, we're also posting ads in a few other places that we hadn't been doing in the past. Facebook Marketplace, My House Deals, as well as we are texting buyers and cold calling our buyers list. So we're trying to be more aggressive on the disposition side because it's harder to sell deals at the same rate that we were prior. We also want to give the sellers confidence that we're keeping their health first and foremost in our consciousness as we go to the property, and that's allowed sellers to allow us into the property, and that's also allowed us to get those deals in front of more buyers.
and how is your traditional market in Atlanta?
The market or marketing?
The market, like how are homes still going under contract? Are you guys seeing it slow down? What's going on in Atlanta up there?
Yeah, Atlanta's one of the areas where it's one of the few areas. I just saw an article the other day on ustoday.com that there's more listings in Atlanta than the same time last year. The Atlanta market was heating up, and people are still purchasing. I've also heard a few stats that say more people are. There's going to be a bump and an increase in the amount of loans that are originated. It was like a Quickens Loans CEO that talked about that, and he mentioned how as cities are opening up, more people are getting out and trying to find those properties or make offers on those properties. along with the fact that interest rates are historically low right now. So the retail market is pretty strong. There are the people that have pulled out are those rehabbers that were only funded by um, um, hard money lenders, right? Where some loan programs are, they have greater hurdles to jump over for people to receive funding. So I think that right now, and this is a feeling. This isn't, necessarily something that I've seen specifically, but the feeling is that for the investment properties, investors are going to be looking for more of kind of those bread and butter turnkey rentals or homes that don't need a complete full rehab, that just need to be updated a bit to get back onto the market. So and in our marketing specifically, we're going after vacant homes that don't need evictions. We're going after homes that were built in from 1970 to 2000, so not the super old homes. And we're really trying to target those homeowners, absentee owners, and landlords that have properties that could use a little bit of updating, and or they're already vacant, to where we don't have to worry about evicting a tenant or displacing a tenant, because that is going to be one of the biggest challenges of actually going through that process of evicting a tenant, or helping them find a new property to live in.
So are you sure still marketing strategy cold calling, or have you ventured into more of the direct mail with the coronavirus and everything going on?
Primary is still cold calling, and some SMS.
Okay.
We're sending text messages. We're going to start back with some more direct mail. We're going to get back into to doing some more of that while people are at home. But that wasn't a core competency of ours prior. But we're gonna ramp that up and find more ways to target the same people.
So you're really focusing on those absentee owner vacant homes. Are you targeting any other list right now, or?
We'll always go after probate deals. We'll always go after probate deals, evictions, and absentee. Those absentee lists. Those are our three primary for the most part.
Very cool. Very cool. I know that there's a couple people on here. Does anybody have any questions for Brandon? We have a chat box, or I believe you can also unmute yourself since we're a smaller group. Please post here. I wish I was one of those people that could type and talk different things, but that hasn't worked out. So you're doing your coaching virtually now, and your meetups are virtually now. When do you see the REI Live Atlanta going back into actual meetings?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be open to how the city continues to open up. I don't know if they're going to put like a capacity cap on how many people can actually come to the meetings. But we were having our meetings at the Westin here in Atlanta, and they've given us some indication that they're starting to have events again. So I don't know when when we're actually going to do and take them up on that. But we're definitely just kind of staying tuned to the news and seeing what's going on. And, we'll make some decisions as things open up. So hopefully by the end of the summer.
I feel like we're doing the same dance right now, also of going, we want to have it and we want to have everybody come together, but then we don't want to get the notice later on. Jerry had a question for you. Do you have your team follow a script? And if so, what does it kind of look like?
Yeah. So we do have a script for our cold callers, but we also have a script for our acquisition managers. And I can give you a sense of what that looks like. But that was the biggest component when we decided to do everything um, virtual. And when I say that, in 2018 or so, I really started to realize that the best chance that we had or the biggest KPI to focus on for doing our to doing more deals was the amount of offers that we were getting out. But as I was driving around to properties and going on appointments, it was a good week if we got out 10 offers. So we transitioned to having someone just take homeowners through the process and be able to deliver the script over the phone, and send the offer, electronically. And that really started to work really well. And so, now we're at the point where, we are trying to deliver 50 plus offers a week. And so, how we do that is I put somebody in place to just make phone calls. So if our cold caller says, "Hey, this is a lead," or if a lead comes in via text message or direct mail, we actually load that up into our auto dialer, and we've used Mojo dials in the past. We use Call Tools now, and we'll load them into a campaign for the acquisition manager to go and go through, have a conversation, have a longer conversation than the initial cold call, have a longer conversation and deliver offers based off of sold comps.
So you're putting out 50 offers a week. How many do you normally get accepted?
One per every 25.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
I'm going to show you this now. I'm also like you. I can't type and search for documents as I'm talking. If I can share my screen.
Yes, give me 1 second. I will. Oh, you pulled it. Cool.
Oh, no. It's gonna make me quit Google Chrome. I'll send this to you. How about that? Maybe you can share it, Catherine.
That works.
And then you can pull it up and I can talk through it.
Okay.
I am sending it to you now. But the script is loosely based off of, one of my original coaches, Todd Toback, he has like a sales process that he goes through, and it's a sales process that it starts just like a traditional script where you warm up, you build rapport, you ask for permission, and then you kind of qualify and diagnose. You make an offer on the home, you try to get closed, and then you boomerang. Whereas you say, "Hey, are you sure you want to move forward with this offer?" And so it's based off of that system. We've just put some text in there, and so yeah, this is it. So the warm up, the building a rapport is hey, I'm calling about your house at 123 Main Street. You may have spoken with my partner a while back. Is now a bad time to talk? And then they'll say whatever, and you kind of have that conversation. And then you set the agenda and ask permission. Well, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to have another conversation with you, go over some stuff about the property, and understand the situation and condition of the home. After that, in terms of an offer, we'll go from there. How does that work for you? Does that sound fair? And then you get into the qualified diagnose phase where you're asking, well, hey, you mentioned before about your tenant, being an issue. Is that still something that's going on? And you're going through that process and bringing up that pain and kind of agitating, like, hey, what's going on with the tenant? What's going on with your renter? What's going on with your mortgage? What's going on with your bills? And you're using kind of some pain probing questions. Well, it seems like on time rent is valuable to you, or it seems like you don't like tenants that mess up your place. And, yeah, I don't like that. I just want to be done with this. Well, and then you get into the describe features, sell the benefit. Well, hey, like I mentioned to you before, we buy properties as is. If that makes sense for you, we can actually close in 30 days. Our business is really simple. And then, does that make sense? And then now you're getting into the make offer, and at that time we're looking at some sold comps in the area, and we're saying like, hey, what do you think the property would sell for in terms of an as is all cash offer? And then you try to get their number out of that. And if they don't give you that ballpark, well, hey, if I were to make an offer, I'm looking at some stuff in the area that recently sold, and I'd like to make an offer at X dollar. And that in this offer level one, um, while you're on the phone, and you're looking at some soul comps in the area, you want to find out, and this is for any situation. You could be going to, this could be you speaking directly with the homeowner that you want to rehab their property, or you want to buy it as a long-term rental. It's still going to be good that you have that conversation directly with them, and get a feel for what is the most that you would pay based off of the most you would pay. Like if you think an as is offer, I can purchase this home at 100 and put 50 into it and it'll be worth 220. Well, the most I'm going to offer is 100. So I'm going to start off maybe at like 70. That's going to be my offer level one. And you go from that offer level one in decreasing increments up to your max. So you'll anchor at offer level one, and hey, if I'm hearing you right, that's not a price that'll work for you. I can totally understand where you're coming from. What about offer level two? And if they accept that, good. If they don't, you can keep going and, decreasing increments up to your maximum allowable offer. And if you scroll down, Catherine, if once they agree to whatever your final offer is, well, hey, I really understand that you need to sell, and I understand it. If they don't agree to your number, we still send the offer to everybody. If they do agree to your offer, you keep scrolling down, you'll try to get closed. Well, hey, if we're in the same ballpark, I'd love to move forward. And how soon would you like to close? And then you start to future pace. Hey, I'm going to send you over this offer. It's a simple 2-page agreement, yada yada yada. So this script walks you through that entire process where you're telling them exactly what's going to happen to get closed in the deal. And you don't have to look at this and say, hey, I got to say every word on this. I got to take them through the entire process. No, you're going to try to take them as far as you can get them. And then if they don't, agree, you still sent that offer, and you're going to follow up again and try to take them through the process the next time. And you'll start every conversation after that first one back at the top. You're back at um, you know, hey, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the home. I know I sent you an offer, and you're setting the agenda again, asking for permission again, and then you're qualifying and diagnosing. Well, hey, you told me about this. I still want to get this done. So that's the script in a nutshell. Catherine, I'm going to send you a link that you can share that
Perfect.
with everybody here. But that's our acquisition manager script, and then our prospecting script. It's a simple cold calling script that a lot of people have, and there's a lot of people out there that have like a cold calling script, but that acquisition manager script, that's specific to us, and we use that in our business.
So are you using a expiration date on your contracts when you're sending them out?
Yeah, well, we usually send it out with please sign in 7 days,
Okay.
um, and then due diligence starts once they sign the agreement. But yeah, that's it. I shared a link there where you guys can request a script, and
Perfect. It looks
yeah,
like
I
there's a
yeah.
few more questions. Jerry was curious, what's the first time home buyer entry level price point in Atlanta?
Well, as you know, I mean, there are, and this is kind of nationwide, the availability of affordable housing is at a shortage, everywhere. There's like all these new homes you can only find them at like 300K and above. But a good starter home in Metro Atlanta, closer to the outskirts, which is a lot of people live in the suburbs and outskirts. If it's good and decent condition, or I'm sorry, if it's good and it's been at least updated and renovated to like a starter home, it's probably 175 or so. If you want like a rental grade home, you can probably find something move in ready, depending on where you are in the city, at like 100, 110, 120. That's probably about right. You got to really go into some really bad, um, school districts to find something like less than 100. But you can find something decent, for maybe 120, something that's been updated for like 175 or so.
Are you guys doing a lot of subject to? Are you asking subject to in Atlanta?
Me personally, all cash.
Okay.
We do all cash deals. Um, I wanted to get to a point where I brought somebody on the team to just negotiate for subject to, but I haven't done that yet. And that's something that we want to do for sure. I've always been told, like, hey, start with stick to your one thing, stick to your bread and butter. And honestly, there's enough cash deals here in Atlanta, and I think in most markets that would surprise you if you're consistently having conversations with homeowners, regardless of your marketing channel, and you're consistently sending offers. You can do deals because people move every day. People, inherit properties every day. And so if you're consistent enough and going after those motivated sellers, there are cash deals out there. I've always been surprised by the fact that, we could just cold call list source all day and all night and we'll do deals for sure.
Paul wanted me to throw out there that you guys should talk. He's actually doing a training at 3 o'clock about subject to and how to ask for it and the things. So he's like, I can help you with that. He loves this. I've got one more. Well, there's two more questions, but they kind of go together. At what point did you decide that you were ready to hire a mentor in your own business, and how did that help you grow, as well as who was your first mentor and coaches?
Yeah, I started with a mentor. Luckily, the guy that was telling me about real estate investing, he was already part of the Wholesaling Inc. Program. And then I bought into that as well. It was like $5,500, which can be, expensive. I think that there's other, there's different levels of mentorship. Like if you want one-on-one, you got to pay for it, and it'll likely be higher. If you want something small group coaching, that's an option as well. But the person that excels in a small group coaching setting needs to be a self-starter. I think they need to be hungry. They need to be able to be consistent. They can't just be looking for information from everywhere. And so be successful in a small group setting. But if you have the ability to pay for one-on-one coaching, I know you guys and Paul and Catherine, you guys have some great programs set up. I started initially with a mentor, and that's how I was able to hit six figures in year one. I knew nothing about real estate prior to that. That's because I had a mentor from day one.
Perfect. I know Paul wanted to come on for a second. So, Paul, are you there? You're still muted. Watch him.
Can I
you hear me now?
answer?
Yep, hear you.
So, Brandon, did you just stay with one mentor, or did you expand from the one mentor up?
I kind of expanded, but my mentor initially, and I'm sure you learned from Tom as well. He mentioned like, hey, block out everybody else, like just follow one method, until you have that down pat before you try to move on. So I've had different mentors along the way to teach me different things. But for instance, my initial mentor just taught me how to do a certain type of deal. I think there's different programs out there that will teach you all these different things, and that can be confusing.
Oh
So
yeah, you got to master the one to go to the next for sure.
exactly, I locked in with the first one, and once I did that, I moved on and found a mentor for the next phase of where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else, Paul?
I have a question.
Hey, Mark.
How are you? Hey, Brandon, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Mark,
How's
how's it going?
Atlanta?
Hey,
I
man,
don't think you
how
see
are
me,
you?
but I see you. You're looking as good as ever.
Thank you.
What I'd like to ask you, I may have missed a little bit at the beginning, but how valuable do you feel that it is right now in this marketplace with all the changes that are happening? How important do you think it would be right now in this marketplace to grab onto a mentor and to get started right here, right now? Some of you may
Yeah.
be listening out there and be wondering, sitting on the sidelines, like saying, oh man, I mean, I didn't want to get into real estate last year because I thought prices were too high. And now we've got all this crisis and turmoil. I look at this as really an opportunity for especially new people that don't have rental properties to get in, learn the systems, learn the processes, and get themselves pointed in the right direction to really capitalize on what's happening right now. I'd just be interested to hear how you feel about that in an honest conversation. So the people that may be listening that are on the fence and that aren't in our mentoring program, but thinking about getting into real estate, how valuable do you think that would be to get linked up with somebody who's been through different markets in their past history?
Yeah, no, thanks. Great question. That's 100% what you should be doing. Whenever you're trying to get started in any business scenario, program, training, skill, hobby, having a mentor is absolutely the most important tool for your success. There's somebody to tell you, hey, this is what you should be doing, following step by step. Make sure that person is aligned with what you want to be doing. But if you feel comfortable, you resonate with that person, lock in and follow along so that they can tell you exactly what to do, and you're getting instruction, not education. Of course, there's a mix of both, but I want the instruction. I want somebody to say, hey, you do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you also agree that even though there's the best opportunities we may have seen right now in the last 5 years, would you
Yep.
agree? First of all, would you agree that right now there's probably the best opportunities that could be available to us that we've seen in the last 5 years?
Yeah, for sure. That was kind of going to be my next point is that, I have, friends, students, colleagues. There are some people that are getting out of the market because they didn't set their business up the right way. They were kind of doing a little bit of this and that and doing everything else, and they weren't consistent. So there are people getting out of wholesaling, which, that creates some space for yourself to,
Yep.
to lock in and go hard right now. There are also going to be continuing opportunities where people that may have lost some money in their 401k and they have these extra properties. Those are going to be coming available. I've also heard that some of the big banks put a moratorium or whatever on rent or mortgage payments for a few months, and then they're going to call them all due. So there's going to be
So
people that it's going to create motivation and distress scenarios for homeowners. So I think there's going to be a floodgates opening on available off-market inventory that you want to be poised to take advantage of now. And so how do you do that? It's getting a mentor to tell you exactly what to do.
I agree. I agree exactly with what you're saying. Well, there's more opportunities out there based on the emotional things that the sellers are going through. B, many of the wannabe wholesalers are going to fall by the wayside. C, some of the ones that are staying in are not going to press down and market right now. So those create definitely more opportunities. But on the back side of it, there's going to be a little bit more challenging because the cash buyers out there are not as active and they're seeking much deeper discounts. So there's a combination of the good and bad here. Are you telling your students right now that they need to be a little bit more patient and expect what used to be the challenge, which was maybe getting the houses? there's going to be a challenge on the back end, which may take a little longer to pick up any momentum in the wholesale, and to not expect a deal maybe as quick as they would have in the past if they find it, because there's not the pool of ready, willing, able buyers that are ready to pull the trigger every day. Are you prepping them for that type of information at this point in time? Are you bringing it to their attention, and do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, for sure. I'm letting all of my students know that they have to be super aggressive in the buy side, in the sales side. I'm sorry, of their business. So if you get a contract, you have to be super super aggressive to find buyers. Whether or not you were just sending emails before, those days are gone. You need to be sending emails, texts, calling your buyers list. And from personal experience, we've had delays in our closing. So, it just caused us to need to be super aggressive. And, a mentor would tell you exactly, hey, this is what you should be doing to go after those buyers. So having someone in your corner and to let you know, like, hey, this is how you go and find those buyers when there are certain ones that are pulling out of the market. Hey, this is how you go and find those buyers that will still be available. And having somebody to tell you how to go out and source those types of buyers is going to be key.
In some actions like that I've taken just to find out what's going on, I haven't really got into the streets for many, many years, but because I wanted to find out the pulse of what's going on, I actually went and wholesaled the house myself last week. I put signs out myself last week, which I hadn't done in I don't know how many years. And there's a whole new group. And I really wanted to just see what was going on out there. And what I found out there is there's a lot of people actually still looking. Are you telling your students to go out there and put signs? And what kind of actions are you telling your students to take right now to find buyers that may be different than what you were doing 2 months ago? Because you had your buyers list, you had your go-to buyers. What kind of actions are you recommending that people are taking today to build their buyers list to begin or further their real estate career right now?
Yeah, no, you bring up a great point. I mean, I used to do bandit signs for deals, and I've gotten away from that, and I should be doing that as well. What I've suggested is that they be active on social media, put feelers out, work with other trusted partners. So other students within our network of, sharing their deals to their buyers list. Calling whatever list they have and qualifying the buyers that are already on there to see if they are still buying, what they're buying, etc. And then sending text messages to their existing list. But as far as building it, it's continuing to work with others, leveraging your social media to find buyers. But to your point, you bring up a great point of getting out and putting some bandit signs in the area of your properties. That was actually how I originally built my buyers list. And it's been so long, I kind of forgot about that, man. So I appreciate it. That's a good tip.
Me
from you
too.
to
I
me.
wanted to go figure out what was going on in the market. One more good question that I was thinking about now. Also, a lot of students, at least in our network, are looking to get into fix and flip somehow, some way, someday, and now sooner than later. And the private money out there are surely being a lot more cautious. Are you recommending your students any directives on how to go find some money right now? Because they may find a property that they may want to do fix and flip, and the hard money people that are still loaning that I know, their LTVs are surely a lot more cautious than they ever were before. Are you implementing any strategies for your students to find money on the streets right now? So when they do have a property that they find that they want to actually fix and flip, how are you directing them to find money available to do deals right now?
Yeah, no. So for me, my core mentor program is strictly wholesaling. So a lot of I say a lot, not many of my students are actually going out and renovating their own properties. I have some local contacts that have still been reaching out. We have some sponsors of REI Live Atlanta that they have access to our preferred vendors list. So I did update that with the people that are still lending. And those are for hard money lenders. And they know to come to me if they have any need for private money. But nobody in my group, my core wholesaling mentorship program, is raising capital right now. But to your point, if that is something that you're doing, you should be reaching out either to your local network or to other networks such as this to find other private money options.
Appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Anytime, bro.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I've had a few messages about the recording for this, so it takes me about 2 days to get it out of the system and up onto YouTube, but it will be going live, I would say, by tomorrow evening on our YouTube channel, REI Live SRQ. If you guys want to go subscribe, we would really appreciate it. We love all the likes that we can get on the different platforms. So thank you so much, Brandon, and everyone who joined us today.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Thanks for having me, guys.